Welcome back on Dynamo. Today I want to propose you a video about
the unboxing review about the Horus Heresy Betrayal of Calth setbox. This is quite an amazing setbox that has been released by the Game Social to promote the Horus Heresy games. And inside here there are quite a lot of interesting miniatures that are really quite awesome. So now I'll make you see around the box so that you can see the various images that are really quite nice in this, and then seeing the contents with a little specifying about. Before to see the contents inside, I have to remember that there are some pieces that are missing because I yet built. So for example, there is the Dreadnought Contemptor that I yet monetize. So for example, I can switch the weapons, and also this one eventually it's changeable. And usually I don't like the Dreadnoughts, but the Contemptor it's an exception to this because I love such models, so I really want it. It's one of the main reasons because I bought this one. Then there is this that is the chaplain of the Word Beares, that you can say it's the chaotic part, even if technically it's not yet, but it's yet, so you decide how you want to treat it. And this is Curta Seed that I like, and it's painted in red because also the miniature inside here, even if it's chaplain, it was painted in red because the Word Eater had this option. And I wanted to add this for my Blood Angel army because I wanted to have an old chaplain that it was with this red armor, so I really liked the idea. And then we have the Ultramarine captain that is the Captain Eton that I yet painted in obviously Blood Angel option with the symbol also. And this it's something that I really wanted to have because I love such type of armors, Terminator ones, and so I really liked the idea. I can say that the main reasons about buying this setbox are the Dreadnought Contemptor, the Terminator armors that are quite amazing ones, eventually also the Space Marines that are inside because there are 30 Legion tactical Space Marines. So quite interesting way to personalize your own chapter or eventually to mix the other weapons and so on. But I liked because they can be used, for example, as veterans or so on, or even personalized to having some type of weapons and so on, and having something that is different. So I really like them. So now we can go to see the contents inside. One thing before move on is that about these two models has been released a Warhammer Conquest issue that had these two together in the series about Warhammer Conquest, Warhammer 40k. So eventually, if you missed this one, this can be found also in that issue eventually, so eventually think about that. Anyway, now we can move on. Here we have the instructions about how to build the various model, and they can be useful also to understand how you can eventually modify, monetize and so on. So it's quite nice. As you can see, we have a lot of options to build here, so it's quite rich. And as I said, a lot of parts of inside here are something that I'm quite interested about, so quite nice. And here we can find these sets that, as you can see, we have with 30 Space Marines here, the tactical one, that had a lot of options. So we have the option about personalizing with a lot of weapons, a lot of nice things. Really, about this missile launcher, it's something that I really like. In fact, I wanted to use them as devastators, as veterans and so on, because I wanted to make them representing something quite ancient in my army, and 30 of these are something that it's quite worthy, because if you think it's like having an army about Space Marine, yet deployable if you build these ones. An ancient type, but really quite amazing. And here we have the Cataphracci Terminator armor. And I love such one. I have the Tartarus one, have the normal one, have the Assault one, so I have a lot of them, but these are really quite amazing, and I really liked to have also such Terminators, because as you can see, I am a fan of the Terminators, so I'm really good at appreciating them, and so I really wanted to have them, to having a way to personalize, mixing them together and so on, so quite awesome ones. So really, this I have yet to build, because I'm thinking about having a nice base to put this on, and till I don't realize which base I really want, I'm not going to build these ones, but they are really quite amazing. Here we have the cards a little about the game of the Horus Heresy, with the different statistics and so on about the different units, and so they are really quite nice. Sincerely, I'd like to have such type of elegant ways to have our unit represented. Okay, there are the data cards and so on, but they are not as beautiful as these ones. These are really quite awesome. They are really quite similar to the Age of Sigmar ones, but nice. Here we have the dice about this game that are really quite interesting. It's something that it's worth to try. They are really nice to try to play this game, so eventually you can try it. Not bad. Then we have the bases for the miniatures in this game. They are all 32mm ones, with some 40 ones for the charters and so on. This is the base for the Dreadnought eventually. I haven't used them because I haven't built, and about the Dreadnought, as you've seen, I have used another one, about the Shibor one, because I preferred. Eventually, if interested about the base and how to modify, or some, I can say, review about the bases, there is the playlist in the description if you're interested about. Here we have these that are dice that are double-faced, and they are really quite awesome. So even if you want to use them as a sort of battle mat, they can be used quite nice. Okay, they are usually used to play with, because we can see that there are this design about the Zagons and so on to play the game. But I think that they can be quite awesome to play with, even if you play on the game and so on, because they are really quite nice quality to play with. Then here we have this, that it's about the background of the battle and so on, so how to represent and so on different steps of the battle. And so I think that it's quite nice, because it's a way also to understand how to play the rules, the scenarios and so on. It's something that it's worth to read to understand, okay, even if you talk about the rules, about the background of this battle, because it's really awesome. So quite nice to see. I really like it. Here there are these that you can use, for example, for markers or for the tiles and so on, so that they are safer. I like that there are, because in such a way you don't have to buy them to keep everything in order. So there are 4 of them, and they are really quite useful. And here we have the diecast with a lot of interesting things. Sincerely, it's a bit difficult to make you see the different ones, for example this variety and so on, but they are really quite nice. So there are the options about the Ultramarines and the Word Beares. Sincerely, I found these decals quite interesting because some of these symbols, they are not, I can say, easy to build. Anyway, they are really quite awesome ones. Eventually you can use them to personalize your options. Eventually they are really quite nice, so awesome ones. So what to say about this set box? I think that it's really quite interesting because there are models that can be really pricey in some way. For example, think about buying the Terminators and the Contemptor. But also there are options that you can really make something amazing. So about the game, it's up to you to decide if it's worth or not, because I think that there are a lot of options that can make this a really nice game to play with. And the battle itself is something amazing, because it's the Betrayal about the Word Beares to the Ultramarines. It's something that brings to the Horus Heresy itself and make it clear, crystal clear, that the betrayal happened. So this is a really amazing step about the history of Warhammer 40k, and this game bring you to play with such games, so to understand what happened and having the background, playing it. So I think that in that way it's something that it's quite worth to have as collection, as miniatures to play with, as rules to represent. Eventually you can adapt, but it's amazing such options that we have. So I really like such set box. Anyway, from Dino Mode it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.